Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, Mike. Final episode of our election coverage. There's still votes to be counted, but I think we can call it, can't we?
Well, I got to say this. I'm glad we decided to do an extra one tonight, even though my time, it's 1 o'clock in the morning here. I guess it's 3 o'clock Eastern time. And I guess I could say congratulations, Phil. You are correct in the fact that you correctly called Donald Trump to win and correctly called it to be pretty much a landslide. And although I also called Donald Trump to win the election, I didn't think it was going to be quite as dramatic as what we've seen. He just got off stage from his victory speech, and Fox News, interestingly enough, has called the election. Both MSNBC, NBC, and actually CNN, ironically, I don't really understand their headline. CNN says Trump has reached 270, but they haven't declared the election. So I don't really, I'm not sure if they have accounting problems or, hey, while we're mentioning CNN, I mean, mark my words, this is the end of CNN. I was around in the beginning days of CNN back in the 80s, and I think that this election just ended the network. That's my prediction that came out of this. Now, two things. One, inept coverage. I watched all of the networks. CNN by far was the worst coverage of anybody. They can't seem to make a call to save their life. And so many of you probably are not even on CNN, because I had some friends here that were like, oh, we're not really watching that because it's a pay. You got to pay to get access to it, unlike everybody else tonight. Everybody else was easy access.
I didn't watch CNN because of just what you said. It's just I knew I wasn't going to enjoy the coverage. Just totally biased. They have actually exceeded MSNBC as being biased. It used to be the other way around.
I agree. I watched MSNBC tonight, and I thought their coverage, although they obviously skew very left, I thought it was fair and they called it like it was, and they didn't delay. I think CNN has just basically torpedoed themselves. So anyways, that's a whole different subject to talk about news entities, but that's where we're at.
Every election afterwards, the winner often throws around the word referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And I always take that as bullshit.
Yep.
This year, I feel like that this election was a referendum on the past 4 years. I believe this, everybody's like trying to break down who voted and who voted for what. I think it's pretty clear what rang through. The economy and the border were more important than any of these social issues that they tried to use on the liberal side. The people are tired. I think the Barack Obama administration, I believe there were a lot of people who they never actually judged Barack on whether they thought he was the right candidate. I think a lot of people voted for him because they felt like it was right to vote for him. And they thought by voting for him, it would be sending a message for the country, and we'd move in a certain direction. And that did not happen. It actually, I feel like, was the beginning of a downturn where people felt like, well, we're constantly conceding. We're constantly conceding to things to try and show that we want the world to be fair, but those who are seeking these gains are not happy with those gains. They want more, more, more. Um, I don't want it. I don't want to just have the right to marry who I want to marry. I want some kind of law that you have to act like you like it. You know, when it got to that point, basically the liberals ran out of social issues to fight for. And people started getting pissed off as to why are you still pushing when you've won everything already. I don't think anybody is really there's no wholesale isms of any sort anymore. Sure, there's racism. Sure, there's ageism and whatever ism you want to call out. But all of those things, in my opinion, are at an all-time low.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the liberals are not doing well, because that was their whole spiel. Now people are like, the world ain't so bad. You guys are the problem. And I think that's what the vote showed you. I think they showed you that they were tired of playing games with all the social issues, and people are tired of cracking open their wallet and ain't nothing in it.
Well, I think the economy was the number one thing, and, and
Yes.
I do agree that this was a what's the word? I guess yeah, it was a referendum. My favorite quote of the night was that I heard was the Democrats took a knife to a gunfight, and I think that sums it up. I think one of the problems that they've had consistently is that they choose very poor candidates, and there was a big momentum at the time to go against Trump, and we had an unbelievable turnout in the 2020 election where Joe Biden set a record of a number of votes, and Donald Trump actually came in second with a record as well. And I think you're going to see at the end of tonight what you're going to find is the referendum here tonight was she didn't turn the votes out. By and large, most of the states that I looked at, he did slightly better than he did last election for sure, but she did much worse than Biden did. So she just did not draw the crowd. And I think that's a referendum on largely, I think that she was a weak candidate. I mean, the bottom line is she's just not a strong candidate. She wasn't even the A team. Let's be honest. She wasn't who was chosen. I think they would have been better off making this decision. They diddled around and got Biden out too late. They could have gotten him out long before that. Quite frankly, they didn't put enough pressure on him, and they could have and they should have brought in somebody other than her, because if you recall, I know everybody has gotten clouded by this election and forgot about particularly the Democrats that have voted for her, which is nearly half the country. But let's flash back about a year ago. Most of you all out there that voted for her didn't even like her, didn't think she was a good vice president, didn't think she was a great pick for Joe Biden. And now suddenly she's going to solve your problem. Well, you see what happens. People aren't that stupid, and they go, she's not really a strong candidate. And quite frankly, they knew more about Trump than they know about her. I mean, he had served for 4 years, so a lot of the argument that went out that he wasn't going to be, he's going to do all these terrible, nasty things. It's hard. You're hard pressed to make that argument when he was already there for 4 years, and most of what you're talking about didn't happen. So. And I said it. The two things that I said, if he turns out the younger crowd and the Latino vote, which it appears that he did, and the referendum was on women's reproductive rights, and we got our answer tonight. If there's a referendum, the answer to that is simply, and I'm not saying it isn't important, but it is not as important as the economy, as the border, as how much it costs to go to the grocery store and buy your eggs and chicken. So, and by the way, I'm sure there's a ton of, we'll have to see when the numbers finally wash out, but I'm sure quite a few women did vote. And obviously, based on the numbers, quite a few women voted for Donald Trump. And that's the bottom line. It's who turned up, and they didn't turn up for her because we don't have. I'm looking at the screen right now. We don't have final results from everything, but I think you're right, Phil. Right now, it looks like he's going to sweep the battleground states. I don't know that she's going to win any of them. And that's significant. And we knew early. I called that. The other thing that I called was I said, look at Florida. And when we got those results, those early results coming in from Florida fast, it became pretty obvious that this race was going to look more like 2016 than it was going to look like 2020.
Well, I've got all these boards up, Mike, and early on in the day, as they fill it in, whether it's red or it's blue, depending upon who won it, early on, half the country was red already. To me, it was pretty much clear cut early. Around 6 o'clock, it was clear cut to me.
Well, but let's remember that always happens. The Republicans are always ahead in the beginning just by where the states fall geographically and when the results come in. But right now, if you look at Fox News, which by the way, I'm going to give Fox News some credit. They're the only network that actually had balls enough to actually call races that were pretty damn obvious, and they've called every state right now with the exception of 1, 2, 3, 4. The only states that Fox News has not called is Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska. And we obviously know Trump's going to win Alaska. They currently are showing 277 to 226. But if you click on all of those states, Trump is winning in Nevada, Trump is winning in Arizona, and Trump is winning by a lot in Michigan. And he's obviously winning in Alaska as well. So it's quite possible
win Alaska,
he will win all
over.
Those states.
All he got to do is win Alaska. He only needs 3 more.
Well, it's over anyways. I mean, Fox News has him at 277 already.
Yeah.
Because he won Wisconsin. I mean, that wasn't even a contest.
The reason why Fox is the only one that was willing to go ahead and make a prediction is this is a good show of how liberal the media is. The media is so liberal, none of them want to be the first ones to say, yeah, our team lost.
Well, it's interesting though. The actual anchors basically have all said they lost. And, even their headlines, Trump cracks blue wall with Pennsylvania win on MSNBC. CNN headline, Trump on the brink of victory. Oh, they just changed it. Trump on the brink of victory now, it says, even though they've got him at 277, I think. So, who knows? They're all over the place. I think the bottom line is it's over.
It's absolutely over.
It was a unanimous, obvious, surprising to me. I mean, I'm a little surprised that it was over, like you said, pretty much from the beginning. You could see the tide. You could feel it.
Mike, I want to shout out one of our homies. Eric Hughes, Bird Dog Overland. He's left some comments on each one of these episodes that we've done.
Yep.
And I wasn't able to comment back or acknowledge him. Just want to acknowledge him over the air. Thank you for watching, and thank you for following. People who go check him out. He's Bird Dog Overland on Instagram. He was the pivot man on our party in Pacific Northwest that people still talk about.
Cook so many damn hamburgers, I can't even tell you. And a big shout out to everybody, really, because I'm actually shocked that people were listening tonight. Only because this is an off day. This is not our normal Friday. It was weird time and sort of last minute, let you know what was going on. So, but I did get a number of people that were.
We got
I had a bunch of people here in the RV park watching.
Mike, we got a good crowd of people. You know why I say that? I was warned as we go into the political stuff that all of this negative stuff was going to happen. And I've had people with opposing views for sure, but it's all been gentlemanly or ladylike. It's been, totally classy, the kind of responses and interactions that I've gotten from people. So we've got a special crowd that follows us for sure.
Yep, and that's what I mean. So I do definitely want to thank all of the listeners out there. One of the things is obviously, we're not super biased, meaning like I'm pretty sure I've trashed everybody on all sides a number of times, and and that's where I would go from here too. I mean, let's think about it. We got to wake up tomorrow morning and be a country, and that entails 50% of the people obviously being disappointed in what happened, but everybody's got to move forward, and we got to give it our best shot. It could have been the other way. It could have been Harris, and there would have been 50% of the people that weren't excited about that either. So it is what it is, and we're going to see what's going to happen. But clearly, mandate is a strong word in this case, because not only, I think they got the Senate. The Republicans also have the Senate, and it looks like they might have the House. Yeah, it looks like they could,
which is a good thing, because that has happened so often where we get the president we want, but then you don't have the backing of the House and Senate to get anything done. That's highly important.
Yeah, you got stalemate. So we'll see what happens.
No excuses if he don't get nothing done.
Exactly. So, just like, we're saying that, he's got that mandate. If he's got the Congress, we're going to hold him accountable. So if he screws it up, you're going to hear it right here from us and telling you that he's screwing it up. And we're crossing fingers that doesn't happen.
We're calling it like it is. That's all it is to it. We're going to call it like it is.
Yep, we're going to call it like it is. Interesting to see that I didn't hear any dialogue at his quote victory speech of Harris. Obviously, she hadn't conceded or called him. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight or never or what. Who knows? But
from all her other actions so far, I wouldn't be shocked if she never called him. She had this big shindig planned at Howard University for her win. And then she announced that she's not going to talk or anything tonight.
They had known at that point that they were losing.
Yeah, but you generally go out and talk to your folks that supported you and say thanks, and it was a good run.
You know what? Now that you say that is a correct statement. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, that didn't happen either.
And then you again, specifically went to your sorority.
I know he didn't concede at the last election though ever either. So we've set a new precedent.
They are both the type. They both got a nastiness to them.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
That's right. And Trump, if you're listening to us, which I'm sure you're not, don't touch the microphone. No touching the microphone.
Okay. So, Mike, you got any last words?
Well, my last words are: if you don't like the outcome, I understand. I truly do. I truly understand. And if you like the outcome, I also understand. And I really hope that as a country we can work together and move forward, and I guess we say that after every presidential election, but this one in particular, I think is going to be probably as difficult as it gets. But if we're going to succeed, that's what we got to do. So put your head down and let's make it better.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.